Welcome to LFC Transfer HQ, your ultimate source for all things Liverpool FC transfers. Like and subscribe for more football updates. Our first news is Fabrizio Romano hands Liverpool massive signing boost as elite star rejects rival offers. Fabrizio Romano has shut down claims Marc Guehi could join one Premier League club, with Liverpool in pole position to sign the Crystal Palace captain. Newcastle United and Tottenham Hotspur have had bids for Guehi rejected in previous transfer windows, as Palace were still hoping to hand him a new contract. However, the centre-back is not keen to pen fresh terms at Selhurst Park as he knows he has put himself in a great position to secure a major transfer. Midnight. Fluid logo. Guehi's current terms expire in June 2026, which means Palace need to sell this summer or risk him leaving for nothing in a year's time. Liverpool have agreed personal terms with Guehi, something Team Talk revealed on July 3, and have also opened talks with Palace. But it was claimed on Sunday that Manchester City could hijack Liverpool's move for the England defender. The Daily Star claimed that the two clubs are on a collision course as they prepare to battle for Guehi's capture. However, Romano has handed Liverpool a major lift by ending speculation that Guehi could head to City. Despite receiving offers from other clubs, Guehi's situation has not changed and Liverpool remains his favorite destination. Liverpool are locked in talks with Palace as they push to strike an agreement before the transfer deadline on Monday. Romano adds that if Liverpool cannot forge a deal this week, they will wait before landing the 25-year-old on a free transfer in summer 2026. On Friday, Romano said, Crystal Palace would love to keep Marc Guehi. Chairman Steve Parish has said if he wants to sign a new contract he can stay. But Guehi has a clear intention to not sign any new deal and to try a new chapter. And that new chapter for Guehi is Liverpool. We have to see if Liverpool and Palace can agree on a deal this summer. The two clubs are still talking. The deal for Guehi is absolutely on. You remember what I told you 2 weeks ago, Giovanni, Leone and Guehi. That remains the case. Liverpool want to sign both. Will they be able to reach an agreement with Palace? We will see, but the conversation is still ongoing. So the Guehi deal is on for Liverpool to get a new defender for Arne Slot in these final days of the transfer window. Liverpool are aiming to sign Guehi for £35 million and do not want to go above the £40 million mark. Palace, though, are holding out for £45 million, which means there will need to be a compromise if the player is to move. Stay tuned for more updates on LFC Transfer HQ, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Don't miss subscribe for more LFC Transfer HQ news. Our second news is £15 million deal may just hand Liverpool the Premier League title. Manchester City have shown their best and worst so far in their latest Premier League title challenge with a win and defeat in their opening 2 games. Looking to reclaim their title from defending champions Liverpool, Pep Guardiola's side are in the middle of a much-needed rebuild at the Etihad Stadium. With a week remaining in the transfer window, Guardiola is still looking to offload players from his bloated City squad. Against Tottenham this weekend, Manuel Akanji and Ilkay Gundogan were both left out of the squad for rotation purposes. The pair have been linked with transfers to Galatasaray, as has goalkeeper Ederson. And now it seems Akanji is attracting interest from the Premier League, with Crystal Palace said to have approached City for the Switzerland international. Crystal Palace asked Man City about Manuel Akanji amid Marc Guehi speculation, report. According to Sky Sports News, Crystal Palace have made an approach to sign Manchester City defender Manuel Akanji, 30, in the final week of the transfer window in a reported £15 million deal. Akanji has over 130 appearances for City over 3 years since his bargain move from Borussia Dortmund and was a key part of their treble-winning side in 2023. He has a contract until 2027 at the Etihad but could be allowed to leave to reduce Pep Guardiola's squad size, with Palace bracing themselves for Marc Guehi's exit this week, rather than let him run down his contract. Akanji could be an elite replacement who would bring title-winning experience to Selhurst Park. However, In selling Akanji, City may be inadvertently boosting Liverpool's squad when they are already favourites for the Premier League title. Man City would be weakening their own title chances by selling Manuel Akanji. On one hand, Pep Guardiola has been clear of the need to reduce his squad size as he is currently forced to omit senior players from his squad each week, so Palace's reported interest in Akanji could come at a beneficial time, but on the other, Akanji can play at both centre-back and right-back and has been slightly more reliable than John Stones when it comes to injuries. Akanji has operated in the midfield areas at times, so losing him would place more pressure on City's thin options at full-back. And then there is the Liverpool factor. If Akanji was Palace's replacement for Guehi, Liverpool would have quality cover at centre-back, strengthening their chances of retaining their Premier League title. So City may have to choose between prioritising their own long-term plans against potentially handing Liverpool another weapon in this season's title race. Stay tuned for more updates on LFC Transfer HQ, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Don't miss subscribe for more LFC Transfer HQ news. Our third news is Newcastle United, one step away from transfer breakthrough amid Alexander Isak Liverpool saga. Newcastle United have been linked with Wolves striker Jørgen Strand Larsen amid the Magpies' ongoing transfer saga involving Alexander Isak and Liverpool. Newcastle United are reportedly on the verge of signing Wolves striker Jørgen Strand Larsen, as their search for a striker nears a breakthrough. The Magpies have until Monday to bolster their squad amid ongoing uncertainty surrounding the future of Alexander Isak. The Swedish forward has not featured for Eddie Howe's side this season after pulling out of the pre-season tour to the Far East with injury amid interest from Liverpool. Newcastle have reportedly held crisis talks with the talismanic forward in their latest attempt to convince him to stay at St James Park this season. The most recent attempt saw co-owner Jamie Rubin and a PIF delegation visiting the Swedish striker at his home, according to the Daily Mail. Despite a spirited second-half performance against Liverpool on Monday, Arne Slot's men took all 3 points back to Merseyside. Newcastle fought back from 2-0 down with 10 men, and with Isak once again missing from the squad, before conceding a last-minute winner to 16-year-old Rion Guehi. Hugo Ekitike, who opted for the Reds over the Magpies earlier in the summer, was also among the Liverpool scorers. But Newcastle are to be optimistic about their chances with Strand Larsen, and former Norway striker Jan Åge Fjørtoft is certain his fellow countryman will end up on Tyneside. An initial £50 million bid was rejected by Wolves, with the Telegraph suggesting that the Molineux club will try to fend off interest with a new and improved contract. According to Fjørtoft, however, an increased offer is on the way and should be enough to persuade Vitor Pereira's side to agree, reports the Mirror. Should Strand Larsen depart, it would push Wolves' summer earnings beyond £150 million. Matheus Cunha made the switch to Manchester United at the beginning of the summer for £62.5 million, whilst Ryan Aït-Nouri has moved to Manchester City alongside smaller departures, including the exits of players such as Goncalo Gages and Tom King. Cunha and Strand Larsen were accountable for 29 of Wolves' 54 league strikes last season, with the latter securing a £23 million summer switch from Celta Vigo following his productive loan spell. The Norway striker netted 14 goals across 35 outings, matching his finest league tally to date. Newcastle's defeat to Liverpool on Monday arrived at additional expense for the hosts. Joelinton, Sandro Tonelli and Fabian Schär were all withdrawn through injury, whilst Anthony Gordon faces suspension after receiving a straight red card from referee Simon Hooper. I don't know with Joe and Sandro, it doesn't look good when a player comes off, especially because both looked in a little bit of pain. They'd be huge blow for us if they're not available. Don't miss subscribe. Our fourth news is Crystal Palace to hold talks with Liverpool over agreeing Harvey Elliott deal. Crystal Palace are preparing for talks about signing Liverpool star Harvey Elliott as they accelerate plans to replace Ebereki Eze. That is according to former Man United and Blackburn chief scout Mick Brown, who remains very well connected within the game, as he exclusively told Football Insider he is surprised the 22-year-old has yet to agree a move away, Palace are planning to move quickly in the market following Isa's £67.5 million exit and are preparing to approach Liverpool about the midfielder situation. Football Insider revealed on August 22 that RB Leipzig are in negotiations over signing Elliott and are aiming to conclude his signing in the coming days. However, the deal has not been agreed yet and a number of Premier League sides including Palace are believed to be keeping a close eye on the progress. Meanwhile, Football Insider revealed that Elliott's move to Leipzig could depend on Chelsea as money from Xavi Simon's sale would be put towards an agreement. Crystal Palace join race to sign Harvey Elliott from Liverpool. This article contains exclusive comment from Mick Brown, a football transfer expert and former chief scout for Man United and Sunderland among others. Brown told Football Insider on August 26 that Palace are considering re-signing Conor Gallagher, who would be open to the move, as they aim to replace Eze. The former scout, who has a wealth of experience in top-level player recruitment after over a decade at Man United during their most successful period, insisted that the Eagles have already been working to sign his replacement behind the scenes. It will be very difficult for Palace to replace Eze, he told Football Insider. He was such a key figure in the squad and in the way they played. But it's something they've already started working on, and there are a few players they're looking at who could potentially come in and replace him. Harvey Elliott is one who I hear they could be ready to make a move for. He would be a good player for a number of clubs, and there are a few in the Premier League who are still keeping an eye on his situation. I think he would fit in well with the way Palace play, in that position where he's not quite a winger and not quite a number 10, he can drift around. I'm surprised he hasn't found a destination yet, Elliott, because there's been no shortage of interest. I expected him to move somewhere like a Palace, Fulham, Nottingham Forest, and yes, it might still happen, but it's late in the window now. So I think Palace, in their attempts to replace Eze, will be looking at Elliott as an option, and I expect they'll speak to Liverpool to see what it might take. The Eagles have made just 2 signings so far this summer, bringing in Borna Sosa from Ajax and Walter Benitez from PSV to add depth to the squad. Don't miss subscribe for more LFC Transfer HQ news. Our 5th news is what Isak has decided about Liverpool move after meeting Newcastle owners yesterday. Alexander Isak has been heavily linked with a move away from Newcastle United, and the player has been trying to force a move to Liverpool. Newcastle United owners held talks with the player at his home yesterday, and the player has now reiterated his desire to leave the club and join Liverpool. According to a report from The Telegraph, the player remains adamant that he wants his dream move to the Premier League champions. Newcastle fail with efforts to convince Alexander Isak. Co-owner Jamie Rubin and a PIF delegation visited the Sweden international's home on Monday to convince him to rejoin the team and stay at the club. It will be interesting to see if Newcastle are willing to soften their stance and let him move on. The Premier League side have been unwilling to lose their best player, but Isak has been on strike and he has skipped the entire pre-season with them. He has not been a part of their matchday squad in the first 2 Premier League games of the season either. It is evident that he does not want to play for them anymore. The latest update will certainly come as a huge boost for Liverpool, who are still keen on getting the deal done. They are prepared to pay a premium to sign the player. It remains to be seen how the situation develops over the next few days. Newcastle cannot force an unhappy player to stay at the club, and it would be ideal for them to sanction his departure and sign quality replacements. Liverpool have had an offer of £110 million rejected for the striker. They are prepared to come back with an. Stay tuned for more updates on LFC Transfer HQ, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Don't miss subscribe for more LFC Transfer HQ news. Our last news is Liverpool receive Michael Olise release clause answer after Bayern Munich transfer links. Latest Liverpool transfer news as claims over Michael Olise release clause have been discussed after links with a move to Merseyside. Bayern Munich sporting director Christoph Freund gave little away on a release clause within Michael Olise's contract amid Liverpool links. The former Crystal Palace winger has emerged as a possible target for the Reds after speculation over interest in the France international. Arne Slot has enjoyed a busy summer but, arguably, the Dutchman's most important business came when Liverpool extended Mohamed Salah's contract. The Egyptian signed a 2-year deal on Merseyside after another record-breaking season at Anfield, where he landed another Premier League crown as well as a host of individual accolades. A claim on social media gathered momentum in recent weeks following a report from an account on X, formerly Twitter, which suggested that the Reds viewed Olise as a possible long-term successor to the 33-year-old. The account, Bayern Space, suggested that Bayern sporting director Max Eberl requested the approval of the club's board to sanction Olise's new deal, which would wipe off his release clause. However, the proposal was reportedly rejected by the Bavarian chiefs due to a reluctance to increase the 23-year-old's salary at the Allianz Arena. In a tweet, the user adds that Liverpool view him as an ideal replacement for Salah, while Manchester City and Chelsea also pose competition. Speaking on Tuesday, Freund refused to be drawn on the talk of a release clause in Olise's current deal, which would allow clubs to enter negotiations with the forward should it be triggered. As a matter of principle, we never talk about the contents of the contract, the Austrian said. If I were to say something along those lines, then we would talk about it. Our aim is that Michael will stay at FC Bayern for a long time. He's an exceptional talent. Whether Liverpool are interested, or if they can test the Bundesliga club's resolve by tempting the release clause, remains to be seen. However, he earned comparisons to Manchester City legend Kevin De Bruyne after head coach Vincent Kompany drew similarities between the Belgian and the France winger. Michael's numbers aren't my priority, he said. But I do expect him to get better and make strides. I've also seen the development of such talents as a player, perhaps comparable to Kevin De Bruyne. What's important is what they do every day in training. I see total calm in him. Now he's won something, but that's in the past. Stay tuned for more updates on LFC Transfer HQ, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Don't miss subscribe for more LFC Transfer HQ news. Thanks for watching. That's all for today's transfer update. But the transfer window never sleeps, and neither do we. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for the latest Liverpool FC. Our fifth news is what Isak has decided about Liverpool move after meeting Newcastle owners yesterday. Alexander Isak has been heavily linked with a move away from Newcastle United, and the player has been trying to force a move to Liverpool. Newcastle United owners held talks with the player at his home yesterday, and the player has now reiterated his desire to leave the club and join Liverpool. According to a report from The Telegraph, the player remains adamant that he wants his dream move to the Premier League champions. Newcastle fail with efforts to convince Alexander Isak. Co-owner Jamie Rubin and a PIF delegation visited the Sweden international's home on Monday to convince him to rejoin the team and stay at the club. It will be interesting to see if Newcastle are willing to soften their stance and let him move on. The Premier League side have been unwilling to lose their best player, but Isak has been on strike and he has skipped the entire pre-season with them. He has not been a part of their matchday squad in the first 2 Premier League games of the season either. It is evident that he does not want to play for them anymore. The latest update will certainly come as a huge boost for Liverpool, who are still keen on getting the deal done. They are prepared to pay a premium to sign the player. It remains to be seen how the situation develops over the next few days. Newcastle cannot force an unhappy player to stay at the club, and it would be ideal for them to sanction his departure and sign quality replacements. Liverpool have had an offer of £110 million rejected for the striker. They are prepared to come back with an. Stay tuned for more updates on LFC Transfer HQ, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Don't miss subscribe for more LFC Transfer HQ news. Calm in him. Now he's won something, but that's in the past. Stay tuned for more updates on LFC Transfer HQ, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Don't miss subscribe for more LFC Transfer HQ news. Thanks for watching. That's all for today's transfer update. But the transfer window never sleeps, and neither do we. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for the latest Liverpool FC.